your story matters. And as you begin to read about all these characters from all these different walks of life, you begin to understand how important it is that we take the time to tell our story. Even when we're afraid, even when we feel like our story doesn't matter, and even when we feel like nobody will listen. There is always somebody watching, and there is always somebody listening. So if there's one thing that I hope that you can take away from this today, it's that your story matters. Those 3 words. Be brave today. Step outside of your comfort zone and tell your story.
On guided synchronicity or angel numbers or number combos. This particular episode, I am going to tell you my story, seeing angel numbers, and how I came about my series Guided Synchronicity. 5 years ago or so, I noticed that I wasn't into being very spiritual or optimistic about anything in my life at that current moment, mainly because of what I was going through. And most of those situations were like very crazy, and they would happen back to back. And the saying is true in my life: when it rains, it pours. And I figured that had a lot to do with my childhood and the situations I was dealing with on an everyday basis. Like I said, it was happening back to back. And I was raised with a religion. I was baptized as Roman Catholic. So that should speak a lot to how my background is very reserved and conservative. I don't mind being that because, that's really how I am. I'm very reserved. People would say shy and quiet. But when bad things would happen to me in my life, of course, I would question certain things and what the Bible would or wouldn't say about how to deal with it. And then it felt like my life got worse with each passing year into my teaching career, which is another long story within itself. And I'm not telling that story today. I will tell that story eventually. But thankfully, my ideology changed literally the moment I woke up on Valentine's Day 2015. I woke up and thought to myself, what I've learned so far from motivational speeches won't work if I don't do or use what I know to my advantage. Knowledge is power, but it only becomes power when you put it into action. And people will say it becomes wisdom. On that same day, I created a second Instagram account and I named it Daily Wisdom and Inspiration. And now today it's officially Mettle Heart. I created that account to make cute posts of my favorite quotes because I'm an avid reader. I love learning and quotes are my favorite. I love quotes. That Instagram account was for me. I was using it as a New Year's Eve ritual so I can go back and look at all of the positive things I have posted throughout the year and to take it as a positive sign, for the future. And that was sometimes easier said than done because, again, I was going through a lot of things. Like when I think about my journey, I've come a long way. And in those moments, or in that moment before my spiritual awakening, I was searching for positivity and things that were motivating and inspiring because I really needed it at that time. When times got hard, I prayed harder. And I kept asking for a sign on things I would struggle with internally. Like I said, during those times, I was lost and looking for guidance. Sometimes when God or the universe or your spiritual guides or whatever title you want to put on it, whenever you're given the sign or the answer to certain situations, or whenever you're put through certain situations in order to teach you something, we ignore him or it or them or whatever. And for years, that is exactly what I did. And I wasn't doing it purposefully, but I was doing it consciously. So when my situations got worse, I lost hope and I almost lost my faith. Like, it affected my mental health a lot. But as luck would have it, I started noticing repeating numbers. Usually whenever I would look at the clock or the time, and at first it was like something weird that happened, and of course I ignored it. But then when the frequency of it kept happening, like every single time I looked at the clock, my watch, my phone, anything with numbers on it, I saw repeating numbers. And initially I was like, okay, first it was weird, then it was like, okay, it's a coincidence, but it kept happening frequently. That's when I was like, okay, this is a sign from God. Like, what is he trying to tell me? So I started researching repeating numbers, and I was struck at how many people made posts, like blog posts, Instagram posts, and even YouTube videos about repeating numbers, because these videos or posts were like made years ago. And I'm like, wow, I'm just now stumbling onto it. Like, when your spiritual awakening happens, it's like, bam, it hits you so fast. I remember the very first video I watched on YouTube was from a creator named Justin. His YouTube channel is called You Are Creators. The eerie thing about this is that I've been following his YouTube channel for years, and I don't understand how I missed that video in particular when he created videos about repeating numbers. And when I watched the video, I paid close attention to the numbers that I saw more often than not, and those numbers were 222, 333, and 555. Very interesting, because he discussed each number and their meaning. I was a little moved, not really that much moved. So I decided to just, continue my research and go on with my life. I just kept seeing repeating numbers again. It was kind of like flooding me. Like, every time I looked at the time or clock or watch or anything with numbers, I prayed and I asked, like, what are you trying to tell me? Of course, I didn't get an answer that day, but I remember one night I was scrolling through Instagram, and this was, I believe it was early 2019, like January. I stumbled across an Instagram post from Vibe Source, which, again, the eerie part about it is that I've been following this page for a while now, like before I even started researching repeating numbers, because they were posting a lot of motivational things. And it just so happened to be about taking a numerology test. I thought to myself, well, what do I have to lose? Why not take the test? And so I did. Now, the thing I loved about this website, numerologist.com, is how the interface is very interactive. It's like watching a video. I was like, wow, this is so cool. So you put your information in, your name, your birthday, and it calculates 3 numbers for you. And these numbers are your life path number, your expression number, and your soul urge number. And this part is the part that scares me the most, because all 3 of my numbers were 5. I couldn't believe it at all. So I went back and started the test all over again, because I assumed I accidentally misspelled my name, or I put in the wrong birthday somehow. Like, I figured I did something wrong, because there's no way I got 555. But no. I got 555 again.
Your life path number is a 5, and this tells me a lot about you. You love travel, adventure, variety, and meeting new people. Calculations, your expression number is 5. And after getting to know you a bit better, it's really no surprise. 5 is the number of freedom and variety. You're extremely easygoing and adaptable. You love to stay ahead of the curve and are always asking, what's next? After analyzing the vowels of your full birth name, I've discovered that your soul urge number is 5. Whether you know it yet or not, you have multiple talents, are a gifted storyteller, and can charm the socks off anyone.
And from that day on, I took seeing repeating numbers as God's way of guiding me or giving me a sign. And also, I took it as I am here for a reason, because 555 represents change. And I resonate with the saying, be the change you want to see. And it's just so like, gosh, Freaky Friday to me. Since that day, I've invested lots of time researching each number and the symbolism and their meaning, because each number has meaning. I paid for my full personalized numerology report, and I noticed that the numbers 3, 5, and 8 show up on almost all the pages. And on the last page, the Your Lucky Numbers page, it says that my lucky numbers are 3, 5, and 8. Crazy, crazy, crazy. I know, it's so eerie. This is why I created a merch line. And this is why I created an EP series based on number synchronicities. And I call it guided synchronicities because I really believe that I am being guided through angel numbers. I hope that you enjoy wearing the merch or listening to the music. I just made sure I took my time with the designs and everything. And I made sure that the numbers and the symbols or the digital art matches the numbers and their meaning and the dynamics of each meaning. Like I mentioned earlier before, the EP series will not be released in chronological order. They will be released based on my story. I hope that you can tell your story through whichever numbers you resonate with. And I encourage you to take your numerology report and just find out a little bit more about yourself. It really does help with figuring out where you are and where you need to be going. So I will leave it here for now. I hope you enjoyed this episode. I just really wanted to quickly share my story, and I will see you in the next episode where I talk about the first EP, 666. If you want to follow me on social media, all of my handles are Mettle Heart, so it shouldn't be hard to find me. You can buy or stream my music on whichever platform is your favorite. And again, my name is Mettle Heart, so it shouldn't be hard to find me on those as well. You can buy my merch at www.mettleheart.com, and I also encourage you to join my newsletter so that you can keep up with anything I am coming out with in the future. Question of the day: who actually went to numerologist.com and took their numerology report, and who has gotten the repeating numbers as their results? I would like to know, so leave your response in the comments section down below. With all of that being said, I hope you all stay blessed. Peace and love, people. Put a shield on it. Remember that.
This is Les Brown, Mrs. Mamie Brown's baby boy. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.